Emma arrived at the office like any other morning, coffee in hand, greeting the receptionist with a polite smile. The open floor buzzed with keyboards, muted conversations, and polished confidence. Nothing seemed unusual, yet Emma felt a strange tightness in her chest she could not explain. As she settled at her desk, coworkers glanced her way, then quickly looked away. A soft laugh drifted from behind her. Someone whispered her name. Emma straightened her posture, pretending not to notice, but the air felt heavier with every second. She sensed judgment, impatience, and quiet cruelty waiting to surface. Just as the team meeting was announced, a mocking voice cut through the room, and everyone turned toward her in sudden public silence. Outside of work, Emma lived simply and without excess, choosing comfort and peace over luxury and attention. She rented a small apartment, cooked most meals at home, and wore clothes chosen for practicality, not labels. Emma believed effort defined a person more than appearance ever could. She avoided talking about her personal life because she wanted no assumptions, favors, or distance between herself and others. At work, she stayed quiet during insults, believing patience showed strength. Silence, to her, was not weakness but discipline. She trusted that steady work, respect, and honesty would eventually speak louder than rumors, fashion, or cruel opinions whispered behind her back. That belief guided every choice she made daily, even when doubt, fear, and loneliness tested her resolve inside the demanding corporate environment around her. Emma's journey to this job was built on years of sacrifice and responsibility far beyond her age. After losing a parent early, she helped raise her younger siblings, working weekends and evenings to support the household. Education came through night classes, borrowed books, and exhaustion. Every exam passed felt like survival, not success. When she finally earned her qualifications, this job symbolized more than employment. It represented stability, independence, and proof that struggle could lead somewhere better. Emma dreamed of growth, respect, and a future shaped by her own effort. Walking into that office each day meant carrying hope, fear, and determination together. She reminded herself daily that quitting was not an option, because too many people depended on her courage. Those memories fueled her persistence despite constant pressure inside a world that rarely forgave weakness or showed mercy ever. The office itself reflected wealth and arrogance in every corner. From glass walls to designer furniture, coworkers discussed luxury trips, expensive cars, and exclusive clubs as if they were necessities. Emma listened quietly, feeling out of place but composed. Her simple lunch and practical clothes drew glances that lingered too long. Invitations to conversations stopped when she approached. Meetings felt unbalanced, with loud voices dominating and softer ones ignored. Though discomfort grew daily, Emma controlled her reactions carefully. She believed professionalism meant endurance. Still, each day required more effort to remain calm, as the distance between her values and the office culture widened steadily. This invisible divide created tension that no one addressed openly, yet everyone seemed to feel constantly. It shaped daily interactions and silent judgments. That slowly eroded her sense of belonging within the team. She served faithfully. What began as subtle disrespect soon transformed into open mockery. That was impossible to ignore. Whispers turned into jokes spoken aloud. During meetings, Emma was interrupted repeatedly, her ideas dismissed before she could finish speaking. Managers allowed it, sometimes smiling, sometimes joining in. One comment followed another, each cutting deeper than the last. Emma felt pressure tightening around her chest, but she refused to react emotionally. Showing weakness would only feed them. Still, the humiliation piled up, day after day, eroding her confidence. She started dreading meetings, knowing they were no longer about work but about proving she did not belong there. The atmosphere grew hostile, and even silence felt like an accusation aimed directly at her presence. Each insult carried weight, reminding her how alone she truly was inside a room full of people who chose cruelty over simple human respect, without consequence or regret in that moment publicly. Unknown to her coworkers, Emma was married, and her husband's identity was a secret she guarded carefully. He was powerful, wealthy, and deeply respected, but Emma wanted none of that reflected on her work. She believed success earned through influence was hollow. Hiding his status allowed her to measure her own strength honestly. She wanted to know she belonged because of skill, not privilege. Yet secrecy has consequences. By choosing silence, Emma also removed protection. She never imagined the cost would be public humiliation, or that her quiet choice would soon trigger a confrontation no one in the office expected. A confrontation that would expose truth, power, and consequences far beyond anything she had prepared for that very day ahead. Emma's husband, Nathan, was calm, observant, and deeply disciplined. He never raised his voice and never acted without purpose. Though powerful in business, he respected Emma's wishes completely. When she asked him not to interfere in her career, he agreed without question. He believed in her strength and wanted her success to be her own. Quietly, he remained connected to the company as a major investor, watching from a distance. He trusted the workplace would value talent over ego. What no one knew was that Nathan often visited the building unnoticed. That day, he was closer than anyone imagined. Just beyond the glass walls, moments away from witnessing the truth unfold before his eyes completely. The meeting was scheduled late in the afternoon. When patience was already thin, Emma entered the conference room with her notes prepared, unaware it would become her breaking point. As she began to speak, laughter interrupted her. A coworker mocked her presentation style. Another commented on her clothes. The room filled with snickers. Even the manager failed to stop it. Clients sat frozen, exchanging uncomfortable looks as professionalism collapsed. Emma stood quietly, her face pale, her hands steady despite the storm inside. She didn't argue or defend herself. Her silence was heavy, filled with disappointment rather than anger. In that moment, she felt something inside her give way. Not loudly, but deeply. The humiliation was complete, witnessed by strangers, coworkers, and leadership alike, leaving a painful stillness behind her calm expression and measured breathing. Nathan arrived earlier than planned, hoping to surprise Emma with lunch. As he approached the conference room, voices drifted through the glass walls. He recognized her voice first, then the laughter. He stopped moving. Every insult reached him clearly. He watched Emma stand alone while others attacked her dignity. Inside, his calm shattered into controlled fury. He had seen pressure, competition, and conflict before, but never cruelty disguised as professionalism. Nathan felt pride in Emma's restraint, but also anger at the injustice. He understood instantly that silence could no longer protect her. In that moment, he made a decision that would end the humiliation forever. He stepped back quietly, already knowing exactly what needed to be done next. Without hesitation or regret for what followed soon, Nathan walked away from the conference room and took out his phone. He didn't raise his voice or show emotion. He made one call, spoke a few precise words, and ended it quickly. No explanations were given. No warnings followed. He checked his watch calmly, calculating time. The meeting continued inside, unaware of the countdown that had begun. Each passing minute carried weight. The silence after the call was heavy, charged with consequence. What was set in motion could not be undone, and the clock was already moving faster than anyone inside the room realized at that moment. 15 minutes later, the conference room doors opened abruptly. The CEO stepped inside, followed by board members and legal executives. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Laughter vanished instantly. Fear replaced confidence as confusion spread across the room. No one understood why leadership had arrived without notice. The atmosphere shifted from casual cruelty to sharp anxiety. People sat straighter, eyes darting around nervously. Clients leaned back, sensing something serious unfolding. Authority filled the room, heavy and undeniable. Before anyone could speak, footsteps echoed again. Someone else was entering. Anticipation tightened the air, as if the room itself was holding its breath, waiting for the truth behind this sudden disruption to finally reveal itself. Nathan stepped forward calmly, his presence steady and controlled. "My name is Nathan Cross," he said evenly. Several faces drained of color instantly. Whispers rippled across the room as recognition spread. His name carried weight, tied to investments, influence, and power. Nathan continued without raising his voice, explaining his role as the company's majority investor. Authorities settled heavily over the room. The same people who laughed minutes earlier now avoided eye contact. Emma stood silently, stunned by the sudden shift. The contrast was sharp. Moments ago, she was mocked and dismissed. Now, the man beside her commanded absolute attention. Nathan's calm strength exposed the cruelty of what had happened, making the earlier humiliation look smaller, weaker, and shameful under the clear light of accountability and truth. Nathan addressed the room with precision, naming the behavior he had witnessed as unacceptable. He explained that disrespect, bullying, and arrogance had no place in the company. One by one, he identified those responsible, including managers who allowed it to happen. Each decision was final. Terminations were announced, clearly and professionally. Security escorted the offenders out without debate or delay. No excuses were heard. No defenses were accepted. The remaining staff sat frozen, realizing the seriousness of the moment. Nathan emphasized that success meant nothing without character. Power, he stated, demanded responsibility. The consequences were not personal revenge, but necessary correction. The room absorbed the lesson in silence, understanding that the company's future would now be shaped by integrity rather than ego. What was once tolerated had now been firmly rejected, leaving a clear moral line drawn for everyone present. After the room emptied, Nathan turned to Emma. His voice softened. He told her she had handled cruelty with dignity and strength. He thanked her for staying true to herself, even when it hurt. The entire office heard his words. Emma felt the weight lift from her chest. She didn't smile proudly or boast. She simply stood taller. Her worth had been spoken aloud, witnessed by everyone who once doubted her. In that moment, the humiliation lost its power. Emma wasn't defined by mockery anymore, but by quiet resilience and earned respect. She walked out beside her husband, no longer invisible, her dignity restored in full view. After the terminations, the remaining staff sat in stunned silence. Conversation stopped, as fear mixed with reflection. People glanced at one another, realizing how easily arrogance and cruelty had been tolerated before. Some avoided eye contact, others fidgeted nervously, wondering if they had ever crossed the line. Slowly, a cultural shift began. Meetings became more respectful, discussions more inclusive. Staff started listening before speaking, recognizing the value of merit over appearance. Whispered jokes vanished, replaced by thoughtful contributions. The lesson was internalized deeply. Success without character was meaningless. Employees understood that behavior mattered as much as results. For the first time, the office felt safer, fairer, and more focused. Humility and respect now guided interactions where ego had once dominated. Within hours, Nathan issued a company-wide memo. It outlined new standards for behavior, emphasizing that respect and professionalism were non-negotiable. Promotions and opportunities would now be based on merit, teamwork, and collaboration, not wealth, titles, or appearances. Arrogance and bullying would result in immediate consequences. The memo explained that leadership expected character to guide every decision and that no one, regardless of position, was above accountability. Long-term changes followed. Teams were retrained, mentorship programs focused on inclusivity, and company culture meetings reinforced the importance of empathy and integrity. The office was no longer a place where cruelty could thrive unseen. Institutional change had begun, ensuring future generations of employees would experience a workplace where values mattered as much as results. Outside the office, Emma and Nathan shared a quiet moment. The city lights reflected in the glass around them, but their focus was on each other. Nathan smiled, pride and love in his eyes, and Emma felt the warmth of his support without words. They walked slowly, hand in hand, each step affirming trust and partnership. There was no need for grand declarations. Mutual respect and understanding said it all. Emma finally exhaled, realizing her struggle had been seen and valued. Nathan's calm presence reminded her she was never truly alone. Together, they faced the world. stronger as a team, and more certain of each other than ever before. Emma's journey taught a profound lesson. True worth is measured by integrity, perseverance, and humility, not by labels or outward appearances. She had faced ridicule and stayed steadfast, proving that courage often hides quietly behind calm strength. Nathan's intervention was not just about power. It was about justice, respect, and accountability. The company learned that success built on arrogance and cruelty cannot endure. Emma's story reminded everyone that character matters above all. Even in a world obsessed with appearances, kindness, honesty, and hard work remain priceless. As the office culture transformed and Emma walked confidently forward, the moral was clear: inner strength shines brightest when tested, and those who treat others with dignity leave lasting impact far beyond themselves.